I call it sports news anyway. Saying sports, this is basketball, it's foosball, it's the devil.
For my son to
Foosball is
get
the
off the
devil,
boat.
Bobby.
Oh,
Welcome to another episode of the Game of Inches Basketball News. In the first article we're going to be looking at, we're going to be taking a look at Chris Paul's return to the Phoenix Suns. And he played pretty well, but at the same time, it wasn't well enough for the Phoenix Suns to be competitive against the Eastern Conference first place Boston Celtics. So this was a matchup against the two teams leading their respective conferences, and
It was a disgrace for the top team in the West to get pretty much get blown out. And the Celtics was up as much as like 40, 45 points. And you guys like a top team in the West, hoping to make another finals run. You get Chris Paul back. He did look pretty good when he was out there. But it's still no excuse. Like, he's the only one, as far as I know, that came back from injury. Of course, like Devin Booker, you the star, man. You should have been taken over. But then again, it is the Boston Celtics, the top team in the East, and a tough team to beat. And it just makes me wonder when Suns do get to the playoffs, how would they fare against the other top teams in the West? Because the West is pretty tough. But like, I was just disappointed in how the Suns performed. And maybe they could just grow. Well, maybe they could just move on from here and play better with Chris Paul back in the lineup. Hand it over.
all right, I'm going to hop in second this time. So I think it's interesting to see the weakness of the Phoenix Suns on full display against the Boston Celtics. So Jason Tatum is the best wing in the league, and the Phoenix Suns are probably one of the teams that have the worst core group of wings on their team. So the Phoenix Suns really need help at the three position. So they have a couple great guards with Chris Paul, Devin Booker. They have a great big man in DeAndre Ayton. What they are missing is that wing spot that can help you score the ball and defend opposing teams' players. They had a very tough time guarding Jason Tatum last night. And I think the other takeaway that I wanted to mention during my little time here is that Devin Booker has played absolutely terrible against other MVP candidates and the top teams in the league. So while Devin Booker, on paper, seems to be putting up an MVP style year, I don't think he's the top 3 in the conversation, but I think he would fall into the top 5 or 6 in the conversation. I think what's holding him back is games like this against the Celtics. He completely sold. He was 3 from 11 shooting, and 0 from 3 from 3, and he just was playing terrible. So I guess his next step in his journey is going to be playing even better in big games. So with that, Corey, what do you think?
for you said he's an MVP candidate. For being an MVP candidate, being a starter, and only getting 17 points compared to this other dude named Josh Okogie. Is that how you say it? He had 28 points. Like, I don't even know who that guy is. He has 28 points, and it's like, why isn't Chris Paul had 4?
So Josh Okogie's actually having a wonderful year this year too. He is the number 1 ranked player in the NBA for defensive rating. So he's having
He's averaging 3.6 points per game. He was the highest scorer last night.
Yeah, but like, why is DeAndre Ayton getting 8 points? Why is Mikal Bridges getting 4 and no assists?
Yeah, that's kind of Mikal Bridges is kind of like their outlet to the offense when they can't get anything else going. He's kind of the one that they just stick over in the corner and really good at spot up 3-pointers.
Well,
So I don't know. I think the main story is Devin Booker dropping the ball. Chris Paul is just coming back. I don't think he shot too well, but when
that's fair. Oh yeah, I forgot. He is just coming back.
defense, he did add a lot to the team last night. But
Well, it just looks like.
certainly not enough to compete with the Boston Celtics.
Well, I was gonna say like it looks like the Celtics just had an average night, but the Suns just completely underperformed.
Yeah,
Argue with me if I'm wrong.
that's the big story.
I'm really trying my best to understand basketball. I think I'm correct here, right? The Celtics, this is normally how they are. They're like they're like, you know, the best, or one of the best, if not the best teams in the country. This is how they're, as that top team, this is how they should be playing compared to the Suns, who have, you know, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, like, you know, everybody on that team, yet they just underperform against the teams that they're going to be playing against in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
I think the Celtics played well last night. Better than average.
I mean, and that's how they usually should be for being. I'm
I
saying
mean, better than average for the Celtics.
Like
they played well.
They above their own expectations. Okay.
So on to the next article. We're going to be looking at the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James and Anthony Davis, as they did not play against Toronto last night on the road in their loss to the Raptors. So they both were out with quote-unquote injuries or illnesses, depending on who you're talking about. So we wanted to cover that, as we have been following this over the season. So with that being said, Corey, what do you think?
I'm gonna put a little counter on, I don't know, somewhere on the screen as I'm talking right now. There's a counter somewhere that of times we have mentioned
minor injuries, soreness, flu-like symptoms.
Do you want someone to kiss your goddamn boo-boos? I don't know. I just don't I will never understand, as a sports fan, why. Like, I can understand if certain circumstances are extensive and there are legitimate medical reasons for players being out with, I don't know, maybe someone that's like, okay, I can see Anthony Davis being out because he's a goddamn, it's like a dead tree. He'll break anytime you step on him. So, like, I understand him being really brittle, like, but illness? What was it, a 100 temperature? Or something like that? I don't know. I'll never understand load management as a sports fan. I don't understand why it's morally acceptable and why it continues to happen. So what does that mean for that bench guy that's grinding his ass off and he gets hurt, or he gets a little injury? Does he get to sit out? No, he gets put right back in the game. Why? Because other stars like fucking LeBron and AD are out with, I don't know, bullshit.
I can see it from two perspectives. As far as, of course, it's a money-making thing. You want those stars to be healthy and play, because that's who fill the seats in the arena. And also, like, if you're a team that's trying to make a deep run in the playoffs, you want those stars to be fresh and healthy when the playoffs do come around, because in recent years we've seen like big stars get injured either right before the playoffs or like during that first or second round in the playoffs, and it hurt their chances of winning the championship. Now, as far as just the Lakers go, I feel like it came at a bad time. They just had a 3-game winning streak, and it was I feel like the team was just starting to like get hot, and then like start clicking together to where they can like go on like maybe a 5-game winning streak at the most, and like try to move up in the standings, because right now they're still like below that play-in tournament spot, and they really need to get these guys back so they can get back in.
Kind of agree that load management can make sense in very specific circumstances. I don't think this is one of them. As DeMarcus mentioned, if you're making a playoff run and you want to keep some of your players fresh and healthy, it could make sense. But we're in a situation where the Lakers are finding themselves in the standings as one of the worst teams in the league. So you have 3-star players and you're one of the worst teams in the league because you're load managing so much. I think that's my point that I'm going to make is, if I was the Lakers GM, I would just blow up this roster. I would be completely sick of hearing about this shit. You have 3 of the best players at their position in all of history. LeBron James, best small forward of all time. Russell Westbrook, one of the best all-around point guards in the history of the game. Anthony Davis, one of the most dominant big men when he does play, both offensively and defensively. You get them all on the same team, and you have the worst record in the NBA, or damn near. If I'm the GM of the Lakers, I am blowing this up. You have 3 drama queens, all on the same team. This all started with Anthony Davis having a slow start in their game a couple nights ago. Anthony Davis started out in 8 minutes, he had 1 point, left with flu-like symptoms. So if Anthony Davis is leaving, LeBron James doesn't want to be on SportsCenter being talked about as he can't carry the team anymore. He's not the same player he used to be. He's not the king anymore. So guess what? He's going to sit out too. So you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James now listed on the injury report again. They have been day to day with all of these weird small injuries for like 2 years straight. So I think the Lakers should just give up on this shit. They do not mix well together. You know, you need more consistency in your lineup. And you have specifically LeBron James and Anthony Davis are always day to day. So the Lakers aren't working. They will never work. There's not enough time in their careers left in LeBron James' career to make this happen. You just need to start over. You can get a lot of pieces for these players to rebuild with. So bite the bullet, get it over with. That's my point of view.
They get a lot of draft capital too. And that's another point Corey made that I want to agree with him on. When he was saying like if the bench player come off the bench and get hurt, I believe they will try to force that unless he like a 6 man who's doing pretty good for them. I believe they will try to either force that bench player to play or that bench player is going to force himself to play because he might not get any more minutes.
Westbrook shows up to play every night. I will give him that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that is fair. He does
Everyone
show up to play every
about
night.
Westbrook, yet he's the only one out there on the floor actually playing for you.
No, I'm not. Yeah, no,
No,
I'm
you
not. I'm
need
not
to
talking
play
shit
hard.
about Westbrook. I've got nothing against Westbrook, and I just feel
I'm
bad
calling
for
out the
him.
Lakers fans in general. You guys are fucking picking on the wrong player.
Well,
you got to respect Westbrook.
you have to remember
He's out
these
there
are
playing
fans.
games
Yeah.
for you guys.
You know how many teams would kill to have those 3 guys on their team?
I know people still would like kill for LeBron.
And Anthony
Yeah.
Davis and Russell
And
Westbrook.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
You can get
I don't
Westbrook
think they'll get much back from
as
Anthony Davis because he's always hurt.
Yeah.
So I think that's our time for this article. Yet again, LeBron and Anthony Davis are out with flu-like symptoms and soreness.
Boo.
Speaking of Anthony Davis, he did get named the NBA Player of the Week, as he did have a very strong start to the week. He had, so you can see his stats. He was averaging over 37 points, over 13 rebounds, and over 3 blocks per game. So he was putting up an MVP-style stat line. And then all it took was one game that he had a slow start, and his confidence just went down the fucking drain once again. So he had a slow start and had 1 point in 8 minutes. And next thing you know, flu-like symptoms, and you go from being the best player in the Western Conference to sitting out the entire year again because of their confidence issue.
I believe he's still going to be dominant when he gets back to playing in the game. I don't think his confidence took a hit. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it that game, and he just, like we said, wanted to take the night off. They want to play the Lakers. I believe they need him more than they actually need LeBron to play good. Davis plays good. They have a better chance at winning. It sucks to see him hurt all the time. Wasn't injured all the time. Pretty sure he could have got him an MVP sometime during his career, or maybe even this year, or been in like the top 3 or top 5 for MVP votes.
Basically just reinforces everything that I mentioned earlier. Like, yeah, I agree with DeMarcus. It's like, it sucks that he's always hurt. Like, the Lakers are missing out on this due to a fucking illness that's not even that bad. 100 temperature. Okay, cool. So what? The Lakers and their fans are missing out on this. I'm not trying to sound, I don't want to sound like a dick, because I understand he's always hurt all the time, but in this specific scenario, this past week, it's bullshit.
Shout out to fucking Kevin Durant. He is just as old as LeBron James. He is in just as bad of a position with the Brooklyn Nets underperforming this year. And he is out there
you're right.
just doing what he needs to do to be consistent. And he's trying to get his team to the next level. He's going up and he's showing up every night and performing. And he is the player of the week in the Eastern Conference, and he's being rewarded individually for his efforts. So I think that's the difference between the Lakers and the Nets. You know, like, they both are having terrible starts to the year, but Kevin Durant is able to own up to the fact that they're underperforming, and he's going out and saying, we're going to be better. We need to be better. And he just shows up and keeps performing, and he's doing what needs to be done to get over that hurdle. whereas the Lakers are shying away from actually taking on the adversity that needs to be taken on to get to where they need to go. Instead of actually going through the adversity, they're just sitting on the bench and letting it turn into bigger problems. So I just wanted to say respect to Kevin Durant. You're going out there, you're performing, even though you're in a terrible situation. So hats off to you, man.
I don't think he's in a terrible situation. I just think they had a lot of
They're in a bad situation, man.
they had a lot of distractions coming into the season, you know, with the whole Kyrie thing. And then of course KD off season or whatever demanded a trade. And
They
just
have like
trying
no
to get
supporting cast. They have some shooters, that's it.
Yeah, but I feel like they can get it together though. They're going to make the playoffs. I believe they will.
Because
Yeah,
Kevin
it
Durant
is.
is out there going through the adversity. That's the difference. That's why the Nets are going to make the playoffs and the Lakers won't.
Yeah, no, the
Kevin
Lakers.
Durant fights through the adversity where LeBron sits on the bench.
Yeah, no, like him and Kyrie do. And the Lakers, they make a lot of excuses. Even last year, all they do is make excuses and stuff instead of like just taking up the blame, like you said, Kevin, just taking that shit on and then just going out there to play and ball out. They just rather sit at the media table, make excuses, or we ain't doing this because of that. Instead of just saying, you know what, yeah, you're right, we is like playing poorly, but next game we're gonna like show y'all what we can do.
So yeah, I don't know. I wanted to point that out.
No, I
Respect to Kevin Durant.
110% agree. This is Kevin Durant is the complete, or so far from what I have seen, the complete opposite of what the Lakers are doing. Yes, he is in a really shit situation with the Nets, and hopefully he can get out of it.
I never heard KD make an excuse though.
Yeah,
in his,
that's what I mean.
career.
Yeah, that's and
He
any
did have a burner account on Twitter that a fake
Yeah, that-
account that he was posting under.
Yeah, but that's all he does. But other than that, he always, giving you 30 a night.
Yeah.
Kevin
Yeah,
Durant.
25.
Kevin Durant is.
You know who I am, I'm Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's like, I could just like look at his face. I could just imagine like, you know who the fuck I am.
All right, so I think that is our time for this article. Let's move on to the... Oh, that was the last one for this video. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will catch you guys in the next episode of the Game of Inches Basketball News.